What's up everybody, my name is Steven and you're watching the DIY Plumbers. Today's video is sponsored by Plumbers Crack Coffee. If you use code DIY10, that's DIY10 on plumberscrackcoffee.com, you'll get 10% off your order. We're gonna be talking all about how to install a toilet. Let's go. So the tools you're gonna need for this project, really simple, there's not a lot of them. You're gonna need a full-size channel lock. You're gonna want a 7/16 nut driver. This is my preferred one, but you don't have to use it. You can also use a dog bone 7/16 or simply just an adjustable crescent wrench. And then lastly, you're gonna want a good solid putty knife. This one's been used, so yuck, but it works really well. All right, so here we go. We have a fake subfloor that we've built. First thing first, before you install any toilet, you always wanna measure what the distance is from this bolt that's, if you imagine there's a toilet here, this is the bolt that comes out of the side of the toilet. We need to measure from where the bolt is to the back wall, basically to the drywall. For the various sizes of toilets, you have a 12-inch rough, which most of the time, if you're within 11 to 12 inches, you can usually install a 12-inch rough. If you start realizing you're between 10 and 11, you're going to need a 10-inch rough toilet. They do sell them at Home Depot, at Lowe's, and at local supply shops such as Ferguson's. But that's super important because if you get a toilet that's too big, you're gonna build the whole thing, you're gonna get ready, you're gonna go to set it, and it's gonna hit the wall, and you're gonna be really upset because now you have to buy another toilet. So always keep that in mind. Step one, when you pull your old toilet off, you're gonna notice that there's an old wax ring. That's what your putty knife is for. So usually what I'll do is I'll pull the wax ring off, and I'll take my putty knife, and I'm gonna scrape everything out. The general rule of thumb is that old wax will not stick to new wax. So we wanna make sure we have at least a semi-clean surface. Next, I'm gonna take my wax ring and you're gonna set it down in the hole. When you do this, don't push hard. You're gonna give it a little firm and just a slight twist. That's gonna take any air pockets out from underneath that wax ring and let it seat down to the pipe you're going into. Now we have our fully built toilet. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what's called a duck walk. And essentially, that's when you're gonna stand over the toilet almost like you're about to throw up in the tank. You're gonna reach down and make sure that you don't lift with your back, right? You're gonna lift with your legs, but make sure that your core is nice and tight. You're gonna lean down and lift it straight up, and we're gonna walk it back just right over to the top. When I go to lay the tank over the toilet bolts, these closet bolts, I'm gonna be watching on the right or the left side in this hole down here to see when I line up with those bolts so I can drop it right down inside. So you'll see the bolt actually pop through. So basically, we're gonna take it, we're gonna do a nice careful lift. We don't wanna hurt ourselves. We're gonna walk over to where our toilet needs to be, and then we're gonna slowly drop it until we land on the closet bolts. There they are. Once you're in place, you're gonna feel that toilet lean forward. You can see how the back's higher than the front. And we're gonna take it, and you're gonna just put some pressure down on it until it sits all the way flush. In this case, because I'm technically sitting on a subfloor, you don't have a finished floor here, it's gonna pop up just a little bit. But in this, when we're doing this is a first initial drop. This is when you wanna make any twisting adjustments. So stand back, look at your toilet, see what it actually looks like. Make sure that your wall is nice and straight to your tank. If it's not, it has a little play in it, so give it a slight adjustment. Now, when you're done with that, we're going to go down and grab our closet bolts. We're gonna take our the 2 nuts and 2 washers here, and it looks like we have 2 squares. So let's do that. Let's do that for the all intensive purposes here. So 2 of those, okay. And what we're gonna do is we're also gonna take our caps here. These are like just the beauty caps to make it look prettier when you're in place. And you're gonna take these bottom plastic washers, and if you notice, it'll say this side up on the front of it. And essentially, that's because you want this side up. I'm gonna put those down. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our washer right here, lay that on top, and you kind of want it to be centered because otherwise it's gonna, if you tighten this down while it's kind of kicked over like that, it'll take that white ring and snap it up. I'll take this. This is our washer. Tighten that down, just like so. Remember, try to make that centered up as best you can. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be just relatively close. I'll go ahead and drop the other one as well on the other side. Here, you know what? Why don't I do this? I'll make this even better. I'll put a standard nut here so we can show you both ways to do this. That way everybody knows what to do. Okay, so starting on that side right there, we can take two versions here. We can either take our dog bone or our nut driver. I'll show you with the nut driver first. You're gonna drop that right over the bolt and you're gonna tighten it down just to where it's firm. We're not trying to tighten it too much because we'll actually crack the toilet. If you're gonna use a dog bone, let me back it off a little bit. I'm gonna go down, use my dog bone just to firm. Okay, so that's nice and tight. If we go to the other side, I'll show you how to tighten these square bolts up. That's where your crescent wrench here is gonna come into play. All you're gonna do is bite down on it and you're just gonna twist, and it's the same thing. I'm not pulling hard. I just want this thing to be a little firm. I'm not trying to, you know, seal up a lake from leaking into the ocean. I'm just trying to keep it still. Once your toilet is set, so at this point, you're basically watertight, everything should be sealed up. Our goal here is we just want to make sure it's not wiggling. Of course, we're wiggling because we're sitting on a bent piece of plywood, but you can see when I put pressure on the plywood, it's not really moving. That's what we want. Lastly, you're going to have a supply line. There's usually going to be a shut-off valve right here on your toilet. You're going to shut it off and disconnect this. What we're going to do is all you got to do is just tighten this up just by hand. This is going to be connected to a valve down low. And rule of thumb, when you're tightening these guys up, especially when they're plastic, all I'm gonna do is just go hand firm, and then I'm gonna take my channel locks, I'm gonna bite it just a little bit, and I'm just gonna go boom, like that, just a quarter turn. That keeps it nice and firm and tight. Turn on your water, the toilet's filling, and you can use it as you want. A lot of times we recommend caulking the toilet down. That's gonna prevent any sewer gas that's coming through, and it secures the toilet down just a little bit firmer. That way you don't break a toilet on accident. But all things said and done, that's how you install a toilet. Thanks for watching again. This is the DIY Plumbers, and we'll talk to you next time.